Hey everyone, Roddy Dodson here, and I am doing a presentation today, PowerPoint, on the thyroid, whether it's hypo or hyperactive thyroid. We're going to talk all about how that can affect the body, what causes it, and different solutions that we can use to both prevent and heal ourselves from that sort of thing. I will say for those of you who do have a thyroid that's been removed, that's different. At that point, once an organ's been removed, that you may have to use medications. And I will say, always speak to your physician. Hopefully it's an integrated physician regarding all of this to monitor you, whether you're weaning off pharmaceuticals or whether it's something that you do have to take. So that being said, let's go right into, a presentation about the thyroid and how to heal and prevent naturally. So I'm going to share the screen. I will say for those of you who are joining us, make sure that you're using peppermint and rosemary. I'm going to put a drop of both inside my hand. This is all about focus and memory, making sure you absorb and retain the information that we're going over. So rosemary increases memory by 75% and peppermint increases test scores by 10% when it was implemented in public schools. I'm gonna, in every single class that we teach, I make sure that I always use this personally, and I encourage you guys to do the same. It's very strong. Don't get it in your eyes. And if you do, you guys know you can use coconut oil or another carrier oil. And I like to put it on my head, my forehead, and my neck. All right, so let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Here we go. So, thyroid protocol, detox your life. If you're watching this video, likely you're on our tribe, Detox Your Life, Holistic Healing. That's what it's all about. You have an essential oil account with us, and you have the benefit of getting these resources in free educational forms. So happy to have you guys here, and let's go straight into the rest of the presentation. So what is the thyroid? So I think for a lot of people, hormones can be kind of confusing, but they're very important. My cousin, she's the senior scientist at Northwestern University, and one thing I remember her telling me when I was like 18 years old, which was a long time ago, was hormones control everything. And when they're out of order, for whatever reason, whether it's the food that you're eating, or maybe you're taking birth control or quote unquote hormone therapy or whatever, it can affect that, and that will affect so many functions in your body, if not all your functions. So you just want to be very careful with how you're living your lifestyle, and that you're always caring for the health of your hormones. That being said, so the thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland found inside your neck, right under your larynx or voice box, as you can see in the image on the right. It's responsible for producing hormones that control vital functions in your body. Very important. So obviously we definitely need it, and we need it to work properly. So hypothyroid symptoms. Now you guys, there are ways that you can figure out, on your own, perhaps if you have thyroid malfunction, but of course you should see a physician to diagnose you. But these are some symptoms that you can watch out for. And I will also mention that a lot of conventional physicians, they don't really use proper tests that work effectively. So try to find an integrative physician that understands both sides of the spectrum when it comes to conventional versus natural health, because a lot of times in the natural health fields, they just are a lot, there's better methods. So anyway, that being said, so symptoms you can watch out for with hypothyroidism is fatigue and lethargy, sensitivity to cold temperatures, slight to moderate weight gain, shortness of breath during exercise, problems concentrating, constipation, hair loss and dry skin, hoarse voice, depression, heavy menstrual bleeding or other menstrual problems in women, muscles or joint pain, and slow reflexes. So, if you feel any of those things, or especially if you feel everything or a good number of them, see your doctor and see what's up, because it might not be a thyroid issue, but I mean, it's probably an issue, right? Because these are not good things. So Then for hyperthyroidism, these symptoms include palpitation, fatigue, tremors, anxiety, disturbed sleep, weight loss, heat intolerance, and um, polydipsia. So that's excess thirst. So if you're very like thirsty all the time. So why does the thyroid malfunction? It's a good question, because I will tell you guys, you know, when it comes to healing something, the solution is almost always the cause. So whatever's causing it, if you can nip that in the butt, then you're probably going to help reverse it tremendously. You know, if not 100%, wouldn't 50% be better than nothing? So that's what I always, you know, tell people. Just give them that glimpse of hope, so before they take that step in the right direction. Everything is a good thing, and when you're working your way towards healing. So hypothyroidism occurs when your thyroid produces too little thyroid hormones, a condition that is often linked to iodine deficiency and fluoride toxicity. I feel like a lot of my clients, they're surprised by that when I mention fluoride, because I think, you know, a lot of us are programmed that by the dentistry industry that fluoride is good for you, but it is not. In fact, there's actual evidence that throughout the United States, which is one of the last 4 countries to not take fluoride out of its tap water, the rest of the world seems to have figured this out. But in the United States, in the states with the highest amount of fluoride in the tap water, there's more obesity. And that's linked to that's hypothyroidism. So a lot of it's people's hormones. They really can't stop gaining weight because their thyroid's messed up, but it's due to toxicity. So, and then there's iodine, which makes sense. We'll talk about that in a moment. Other factors include age, more common among 60 years and older. Obviously, the older you are, it's going to be easier for different organs to malfunction. So age is a factor here, but that doesn't mean that you're doomed. It just means that you have to work a little harder on your health. And we really all should be working hard all the time, right? So history of thyroid problems such as a goiter and thyroid surgery, history of radiation treatment of thyroid, neck or chest, that could make it malfunction obviously too, that's very poisonous. Pregnant in the past 6 months, you know, that can mess with the hormones. Have a disease such as Turner syndrome, type 1 diabetes, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and pernicious anemia. So excuse me, I get these two when I say them out loud. They get a little confusing, but I'm very familiar with both of them. Hyperthyroidism is the opposite, wherein your thyroid produces too many hormones. So that's the opposite issue, right? Neither one of them are good. We want to be in the middle. That's balance. And in almost everything that we can think of regarding health, it's all about balance. So factors include age, more common among 60 years and older, as I mentioned before. You know, with age, it's going to be harder to keep things together, but you know, we can all do it no matter what. Have a disease such as type 1 diabetes, pernicious anemia, or primary adrenal insufficiency. Eating foods with large amounts of iodine or drinking medicine that contains iodine. And so again, you know, if you're doing both of those things, taking medicine with lots of iodine, and then you're eating a lot of iodine packed foods, that may also be an issue. Too much of a good thing is not good, right? So, but most people in the US are iodine deficient, okay? It is not the other way around. Pregnant in the past 6 months, obviously that can cause hormone issues as well. Things that affect your thyroid health. Gluten is a notorious culprit of thyroid dysfunction, as it can cause inflammation and autoimmune responses in many people and can be responsible for Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So when it comes to gluten, we know that's not good anyway, and that causes a lot of problems inside the body. But just remember that grains in general, although organic non-GMO is far better, and sprouted, of course, is even better, because that changes the bioinfrastructure, makes it a lot healthier for digestion. But grains in general can cause, it can raise the glycemic index and spike insulin levels, and that crashes the immune system and causes more inflammation. So it shouldn't be the staple of your health. Unfortunately, a lot of people do use that as a staple in their diet, and that's a really missed opportunity to put nutrients in your body via like plant-based foods and even like meats. I mean, if you're a vegan, obviously plant-based, you know, all the way, but you know, incorporating you know, just basically food from the earth is important, okay? And I know grains are natural, but the grains that are available today is quite different than 50 years ago. And then eating too much isn't a good thing anyway, even if it's natural and organic. So gluten sensitivity can cause your gastrointestinal system to malfunction. So foods you eat aren't completely digested, which may lead to leaky gut syndrome, allowing bacteria and other toxins to enter your bloodstream. So if you guys haven't watched this documentary yet, it's called Genetic Roulette, and it talks specifically in a particular chapter of the film about leaky gut and how it's caused by different pesticides, including gluten, that that can cause like microscopic holes inside your gut. And so what happens is that actually leads to food sensitivities, because when like undigested strawberries, for instance, I'll just use that as an example, because I love strawberries and I would hate to be allergic to them. But if undigested strawberries went through those microscopic holes that were caused by the gluten and into your bloodstream, well, your body's gonna, it's gonna attack the strawberry and just from then on assume that it's an intruder because it's not digested. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what causes like this pandemic of food allergies and sensitivities, is because people are eating too much gluten and pesticides. Soy. Soy is not the wholesome health food that agricultural and food companies have led you to believe. There are studies explaining the dangers of soy foods, such as their anti-nutrient impact on digestive health and goitrogens that affect thyroid function. Now, I'll also mention that there were many studies, and independent studies even, that proved that the soy doesn't cause hormone issues, because I know that there are parts of the soy that appear very similar as estrogen, but it's quite, it's something to appear like estrogen and actually be estrogen functioning the same way in your body are two different things. So they found that it does not cause boys to have breasts, and it doesn't cause cancer in women just to eat soy. That's not the issue. The issue, and I'm explaining it here, is people are eating GMO soy, and most of the soy that is available today is GMO. I know. And, they're just finding a lot of issues. It's mainly the pesticides and GMOs. So properly or traditionally fermented organic and unprocessed soy products such as natto, miso, and tempeh are fine. It's the unfermented soy products you should stay away from, like soy meat, soy milk, and soy cheese. What does that sound like? Junk food vegans, right? Please don't get offended. I'm not saying all vegans are junk food vegans, but a lot of times people will go vegan and they don't understand the basic concept of health. And so they'll just go out, buy anything that says vegan. And unfortunately, a lot of these vegan products are toxic to the body. So I understand, and that's awesome. People who have an ethical responsibility to the animals. But if you go vegan, please try to maintain an organic lifestyle. Just keep it natural and stay away from the GMOs. So bromine is another culprit here. Bromine is a common endocrine disruptor found in fire retardants. Evidence shows that this compound may affect proper thyroid function as well as hormone transport. When you ingest or absorb bromine, it displaces iodine. And this iodine deficiency leads to an increased risk for cancer of the breast, thyroid gland, ovary, and prostate cancer that we see at alarming high rates today. This phenomenon is significant enough to have been given its own name. Let me see if I can pronounce this one. The bromide dominance theory. Yes, of course. In addition, when food becomes contaminated with bromine, it may cause nausea and vomiting. Bromine can be found regularly in a number of places, including pesticides, plastics, bakery foods, soft drinks, swimming pools, fire retardants. So there's a lot of like bakery companies out there that are conventional. And what I mean by conventional is that they're probably going to choose the cheapest ingredients for their products. That's going to be even restaurants. They're not really thinking about health. They're thinking about buying the cheapest ingredients. So the rendered result is that you buy, their food for an enormous amount of money versus what they've actually paid to make it. So, they're just thinking about numbers and stuff for the most part. And so we want to make sure that we always get organic. And I know the Department of Agriculture is responsible for the USDA approved organic seal. And that doesn't say a lot because it is a government agency, but they did studies and they have found that there's significant less poisons in GMOs. I mean, if any GMOs, but significantly less poisons inside organic foods versus non-organic. So just consider that. Stress and adrenal function. Stress is one of the worst thyroid offenders. Your thyroid function is intimately tied to your adrenal function, which is affected by how you handle stress. I will mention, you guys, I do highly suggest that you eat a healthy diet, which will make stress a lot easier to deal with when you're under stressful situations. But also you can use aromatherapy. And if you're on this group, obviously, you have access to your essential oils. Make sure you're using oils specifically for stress. If you have any questions about that, contact me or the person who enrolled you, and we can give you the information, but you can find it on the groups as well. Many of us are almost always under chronic stress, which results in increased adrenal stress hormones and cortisol levels. And elevated cortisol has a negative impact on thyroid function. Thyroid hormone levels drop during stressful times and affect the function of the HPT axis. And I will mention, you guys, for those of you who are like, this is a little confusing, what on earth is adrenal glands or cortisol levels? Some of us understand it, some of us don't. So I do have a YouTube channel, look it up, it's Rodney Dotson, and you can look up like Rodney Dotson and anxiety, Rodney Dotson and hormones and stuff, and I do explain a little more in depth over there. When stress becomes chronic, the blood of stress chemicals, adrenaline and cortisol, produced by your adrenal glands interfere with your thyroid hormones, causing a whole gamut of health-related issues like obesity, high blood pressure, and high LDL cholesterol. It also affects your glucose metabolism. So clearly, it's very important to keep track of your stress levels. And I want to mention this to you guys, almost from a spiritual perspective, or at least a mental health, emotional perspective, is that, you know, if you're stuck in a traffic jam and you're freaking out, and I get it, I've been there, it's tough. You know, we've had times in our lives where we're probably not very proud, we could have handled things better. But, you know, that's just one example. It's a stressful situation. Everyone has to go through this. You know what I mean? If you're living in the city, especially, sometimes you're under stressful situations. The only thing that is absolute in our lives is adversity. And if you're dealing with hormone issues, or you're not eating right, if you're very toxic and malnourished, if you don't meditate, under these stressful situations, you're not going to react as well. So it's important for us to live and align holistically, which is what we're teaching here. So when we are under adversity, we will handle it better. It's really more about the way we react to situations rather than the actual situation in most cases, which I'm sure you understand. So, okay, tools for healthy thyroid. This is important, right? So now we're talking about solutions. Very, very important. So iodine, perhaps the biggest, and yes, we're talking about iodine. So iodine is perhaps the biggest piece of the puzzle when it comes to thyroid hormones. It's an important nutrient found in every organ and tissue. It's essential for healthy thyroid function and efficient metabolism, and evidence shows that low iodine levels relate to numerous diseases, including cancer and thyroid malfunction. So you have to make sure you're eating foods high in iodine. You can also take an iodine supplement. And this is one that I would suggest you guys. You can actually get it from our mental health therapist, who gets it from a holistic nurse. And it is the purest iodine that I can find. She's incredible. Her name's Marlene Yvette. She is very ethical. She's all about quality. So Marlene Yvette, mental health therapist, you're probably already familiar with her. If not, contact her. She's on our groups. And you want to make sure you're using the highest quality iodine. Otherwise, you are wasting your money. It's not going to work the same way in the body, just like everything else, whether it be water, essential oils, cannabis, food, got to be the highest quality if you want it to work, right? So this is what I get from me and my family, and it's also reasonably priced. So purified water, that's a big one too. Why? Well, we don't want toxins in our body, which is found in tap water. That's one of the things I talk to people about when I'm doing consults. Where do you get your water from? Not just where you drink it from, but also what are you cooking with? Yes, just because you cook with the water does not destroy the chemicals in there. If there's synthetic chemicals in your water like chlorine and arsenic, it's going to increase the toxicity of those chemicals, rendering it much worse for your body. So it doesn't matter if you cook with it, okay? I think people sometimes look at it from a germ perspective more than a chemical perspective. If you kill the germs, then you're okay, and that's just not true. So fluoride is also very bad for you, as I mentioned before. and it is inside the US tap water. So if you're not in the US and if you're in a nation that they don't use fluoride, that's awesome. For people living in the US and really any other country, because I'm assuming in most countries they probably do use some sort of synthetic chemical, which isn't good. You want to use a water purifier. So you got to make sure it's good. Brita does not work. Brita does not take out arsenic or fluoride. So that is not good. Again, that's just a waste of money. You want to make sure you're getting a real purifier. Okay, so you can contact me about that if you have any questions, but definitely get a purifier that removes all of this. Oils for thyroid health. So we want to use our essential oils to help with the thyroid, to just support it. So dysfunction of the thyroid, you can use clove oil, which has one of the highest antioxidant properties on the ORAC table versus almost anything you can think of. I'll just give an example. Green tea has the ORAC value, and that's how they measure for antioxidants, of 9,700 or something like that. And clove oil has 1,078,000. So you can, just comparing those two things, because we all, I think most of us, go for green tea when we think of antioxidants, or red wine or chocolate or something, right? But clove oil is actually much, much more powerful. And that's really important for neutralizing the free radicals in our body. And that's very important to prevent degenerative illnesses, including accelerated aging. And it's also great for the thyroid. So supports, so for the support of the thyroid, you want to use myrrh. If you're not familiar with myrrh, check it out on our groups. It's an incredible oil. Hyperthyroidism is, you can use myrrh and lemongrass. Lemongrass is also great as an antiseptic in killing pathogens and parasites, but you can use those on your thyroid. And you guys, you can take them internally, most of these oils, like every oil here actually, you can take internally, but you can also make a little roller ball and you can put it on your thyroid topically, and it'll go through the skin and it'll support. So hypothyroidism, you can use peppermint, clove, and lemongrass. There's a few more oils you guys can check out. In fact, I know that these oils in particular are really good for the thyroid. It's also frankincense, myrrh, lavender, helichrysum, and rose. Those are also really good for the thyroid as well. So write those down too. And then all of them are actually in the Immortal blend. So if you guys aren't familiar with the Immortal blend, that's what we use for anti-aging on our skin, and it's really good for the thyroid too. So you can always put some on your face and then stick some on your thyroid as well. As far as hormones, these are some of the big hormone balancer oils. So you can use, and I'll just read through this. There are many essential oils that combat the myriad of symptoms that go along with hormone imbalance. However, many essential oils also help to balance out hormones naturally. So, you know, you find a lot of drugs out there that are going to increase or decrease this hormone, and then it's just this roller coaster, and that's not what you want. You want natural medicines and nutrients and stuff to put the body back into balance, right? So you're not fighting a tug of war with your body, that you're actually going back to balance. And that's what the oils help to do as well. So you can use clary sage. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Phytotherapy, research found that inhalation of clary sage oil had the ability to reduce cortisol levels by 36%, which is what we were talking about earlier, having to do with stress that can cause anxiety among organ malfunction, and improve thyroid hormone levels, TSH. I'll also mention, you guys, really quick, just backtracking a little bit. The T3 and T4 are the hormones primarily for the thyroid, and the number of iodine atoms presented in a molecule of each hormone. So when you see 3 and 4, that's the number of iodine atoms presented in each molecule of each hormone. So just a little, if you didn't know that, now you know. Clary sage oil and then thyme oil. So thyme oil, research discussed in the Proceedings of the Society of Experimental Biology and Medicine, discovered that thyme essential oil has progesterone balancing effects. Thyme oil benefits the body by improving progesterone production. Both men and a lot of women are low in progesterone, and low progesterone levels have been linked with infertility, so PCOS and depression, as well as other imbalanced hormones within the body. Sandalwood oil. of the 3 essential oils for hormones, sandalwood essential oil is very effective at balancing out testosterone levels in both men and women. And again, it's all about balancing out. So it's not like you're taking steroids if you're a man by using sandalwood, or as a woman. It's going to balance it out. Sandalwood has actually been used as a natural aphrodisiac, making it a desired ingredient in men's cologne as well as certain perfumes for years. Nice. I'll have to put that on my cologne. So recap. So basically, you guys, keep this in your notes. Identify and treat the underlying causes. As I mentioned before, if you have an illness, figure out what's causing it. And that's going to be figuring out through your symptoms, backtracking your diet and lifestyle choices, helping, getting help from a health practitioner like myself, for instance. You guys can always set up a consult with me. Just reach out. If you have an oil account and if you're on loyalty rewards program, you guys get a significant discount. And then I can help you peel the onion, figure out what's causing this issue. So load up on fresh iodine-rich foods and supplements. Avoid gluten. Minimize your stress levels. Make an effort to limit your exposure to toxins by replacing them with essential oils. And that's important too, because remember, many different hormone disruptors are found in the cleaning products. So many cleaning products that are, very popular on TV, just because as a TV commercial does not mean it's good for you. In fact, it probably means the opposite. But they have hormone disruptors that are going to screw up many different organs, including the thyroid. Balance your hormone. So you can use essential oils to make your own cleaning products, and they're much healthier and they balance out your hormones. So balance your hormones with healthy foods and essential oils. Avoid all sources of bromine as much as possible. Get adequate amounts of sleep and exercise. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you took notes. If you have any questions, contact me or the person who you were enrolled with. And remember, we're a tribe. We're here to support each other. Whatever you're going through, I'm sure you can work through it with whatever tools and resources that you have, much of which you can find here. So thank you so much for attending. Love you guys and have a great day. Bye.